Hello everyone, this is Phoenix Wide View. By the end of 1929, Long Yun had decisively defeated Hu Ruoyu, Zhang Ruji, and other rival factions, bringing the province under unified and formal governance in Yunnan. In May 1930, the Central Plains War broke out, and at Chiang Kai-shek's request, Long Yun was drawn into this famous clash of warlords. Yet the conflict revealed to him the decay and backwardness of Yunnan. After the war, Long Yun launched his New Yunnan initiative. This marked the beginning of a vigorous 10-year policy that set Yunnan on a path of modernization distinct from that of other warlords, cementing Long Yun's historical role in the province's development. Unintentionally, however, this bold move sparked a counter-coup against the agrarian regime, reshaping the political landscape even further. On March 17, 1931, Long Yun returned to Kunming. Four senior generals, Lu Han, Zhu Shu, Zhang Chong, and Zhang Fengchun, conspired to block his plan to reorganize troops into mobile units, sending him an ultimatum soft in tone but hard in substance. Several key frontier mayors joined the rebellion, dissatisfied with reorganization. Lu Han led the initiative, in truth, a coup in the making. Since the Republic's founding, Yunnan had endured warlord rule and hardship. During Tang Jiao's regime, resources were exhausted through continual warfare. In 1925, Tang sent Long Yun to capture Bai's and Nanning. 5 years later, Long Yun launched the Second Dian-Gui campaign to support Chiang Kai-shek. Initially, relations remained steady, with Long Yun providing strong support for Chiang Kai-shek in the southwest. Yunnan's position bordering Vietnam and Burma made it crucial to China's border strategy. French and British colonial powers coveted the region, and trade imbalances drained Yunnan's finances. By September 1930, the Second Dian-Gui campaign ended in defeat, leaving Long Yun shaken. Years of warlord factions had impoverished Yunnan. Reform was the only option. My father believed serving as an official meant serving the people. Everything had to consider their welfare. Most crucial was that Yunnan's finances operated near insolvency. Partly due to Tang Jiao's endless campaigns, Long Yun inherited the burden. In the late Qing, Yunnan's annual revenue was 3 million silver dollars, while expenditures reached 6 million, twice the income. Thus began the New Yunnan project. To economize, Long Yun announced demobilization of the Dian army, abolishing units in favor of a mobile force system. This provoked strong opposition from the four generals. Lu Han became one of Long Yun's aides, though others fostered suspicion between them during army reform. During the June 1927 coup, Luhan led forces in a counterattack on Kunming, defeating Hu Ruoyu. Long Yun barely avoided disaster. Now, competing interests escalated into fraternal conflict. Long Yun's precarious position forced him to seek Chiang Kai-shek's support, telegraphing, "I am undertaking military reform as a favor to you. There is no sustenance for it. My officers oppose me, threatening to seize power. Please speak fair words." In the crisis, Chiang Kai-shek supported Long Yun's reform. News reached Luhan and others, who panicked and rushed to beg pardon. Luhan begged forgiveness. "Sir, we did not intend to stage a coup. We only wanted to reform Yunnan's army and politics." That appeal appeased some anger. After the crisis, Long Yun declared the 4 men would be arrested. Soon, except for Zhang Fengchun, the others were released and given new posts. The Reform and New Yunnan project progressed across political, military, financial, industrial, agricultural, and cultural sectors. The San Yaoling failed coup ended peacefully. Luhan, Zhu Shu, and Zhang Chong were arrested, released, and restored to positions. Luhan headed the provincial capital's liaison office. Zhu Shu headed civil administration, and Zhang Chong led salt transport. Zhang Fengchun remained opposed and was imprisoned until the war against Japan. 2 months later, in May 1931, another coup attempt was crushed. The 2 failed coups demonstrated the immense difficulty of building a new Yunnan. In January 1928, Long Yun formally took command of the Yunnan provincial government. A few days later, a jaw-dropping appointment to govern the province shocked everyone. At that time, Luhan, then the commander of the 98th Division of the Dian Army, was appointed provincial minister of finance, charged with straightening out Yunnan's finances to ease the then precarious fiscal crisis. After the peasant-led rise to power in 1927, facing this financial situation was extraordinarily painful. If this fiscal situation was not changed, if spending were not cut back, peasant political power would face even greater difficulties. At that time, Yunnan's revenue mainly came from opium poppy cultivation. Most of the vast arable lands in Yunnan were lush with bright poppies, to such an extent that some even mocked that Yunnan was a poppy province. Opium poppy cultivation had been widespread since the 1830s. By the 1870s, opium taxes began serving as fiscal revenue to support the army. Since the 1910s, opium production had been suppressed. But it never fully subsided. With so many troops to feed, the opium-financed approach continued, and under the editorship of Tang Chao, the opium flood sustained impoverished soldiers, bringing Yunnan's opium cultivation to its peak. In 1928, Long Yun's vision was sharp. From the moment he took office, he resolved to reform Yunnan's opium economy. To this end, Long Yun exercised a strong hand, first appointing Luo Han to serve as chief and concurrently as Minister of Finance, tasked with cleaning up the chaotic revenue system. After Wu Han took the post of finance minister, through stern measures, he finally restrained the boastful behavior of the various local warlords and reclaimed the province government's right to collect taxes. In the course of taxation, there was also a personal connection within their circle. A very unusual figure won the bid, but afterward did not bring the money out. Later, Lu Han strictly dealt with his method, i.e., using pressure in support of military affairs, so as to force a reversal of this fiscal policy. In 1932, the Yunnan provincial government announced the reorganization to establish the Fudian New Bank, issued by the mint to strike 16 million yuan in semi-coins as the collateral for issuing new banknotes, gradually recalling the previously overissued old notes totaling more than 52.7 million yuan. The currency value stabilized, laying the financial foundation for Yunnan. Next, Long Yun shifted his gaze to Yunnan's prefectures. Geju, the core town of Diannan, is the tin capital of China, with a mining history spanning more than 2,000 years. It is China's largest and one of the world's earliest tin centers. In the early 20th century, this major tin belt in Yunnan relied on crude earth-smelting methods to produce tin. The product could not meet the London metals market standards. At that time, Yunxi's export volume accounted for more than 80% of Yunnan's exports. But because Hong Kong merchants took away most of the substantial profits, what Yunnan earned was scant. Thus, Long Yun appointed Miao Yuntai to serve as general manager of Geju Tin Works, to reform Geju's theater industry. Miao Yuntai, born Liao Jiaming, courtesy name Yuntai, from Kunming, Yunnan. In his youth, he studied in the United States, majoring in mineral production and metallurgy. As expected, after taking charge of Geju's theater industry, he did not disappoint. He strove to improve smelting techniques and ultimately raised the purity of Yunxi's tin to 99.75% of the international market standard. And that is how it turned out, right? Thus, we avoided routing through Hong Kong and earned a fortune. Indeed, more than what the Hong Kong market did. In this way, we exported directly to the London market, and as a result, the profits of some firms rose steadily, doubling over time. Beginning in 1931, Yunnan's Yunxi no longer entered Hong Kong for transshipment but shipped directly to international markets, greatly increasing Yunnan's foreign exchange earnings. 2 years later, Yunnan had become a province with a foreign exchange surplus. Meanwhile, what about the farmers? Well, they prepared too, for he, after all, came from a military background, so he also had access to substantial foreign exchange and even bought weapons from abroad, Europe, including Italy, and in some places purchased large batches of arms. The changes were also in Yunnan's military units, at that time these light and heavy machine gun formations, etc., were raised to a rank higher than the Kuomintang's internal forces. During this period, Long Yun, through a French company, bought equipment sufficient for 40 regiments, to the point that the Kuomintang Central Army commander Du Yuming later praised that the Dian Army possessed Western-style arms and ammunition. The army's outward strength, the Central Army was left inferior in comparison. As industry and the economy fully revived, Yunnan also increased its investment in agriculture. In 1936, peasants established the Open Door Reclamation Bureau to oversee open farm irrigation and related matters. At the same time, with the anti-smoking campaign, Yunnan no longer relied on tobacco for victory. Lands that once produced opium poppies became fertile, and Yunnan began recording a history of renewed grain production. Even in the late Qing and the early Republic, Yunnan was a grain-starved province, and it had no choice but to import food from Vietnam, Burma, and Thailand. By 1933, this passive posture had been completely reversed, and Yunnan achieved the first self-sufficiency in grain in its history. At that moment, Long Yun advanced a policy with striking strategic vision, a drum-beating policy to mobilize grain. Beginning in 1933, he repeatedly proposed at the provincial council that, besides meeting our own grain needs, we should sell a portion of grain to be used to avert future major upheavals. Later history proved Long Yun's farsightedness. On the eve of the War of Resistance, Yunnan's grain mobilization had reached about 2.86 million dan. After the war broke out, a large wave of inland migrants poured into Yunnan. It was precisely because of Long Yun's drum strategy that Yunnan escaped famine and gave strong support to the national war effort. In the 1930s, China remained a turbulent era. Bandits plagued Yunnan. Long Yun dispatched Zhang Chong and other units to wipe out the bandits, and within half a year, the disorder was rapidly pacified, bringing the province years of rare peace and security. And at that time, Long Yun also turned his attention to culture and education. On September 18, 1931, the incident at Mukden occurred, and the three eastern provinces fell. That year, far to the southwest, Long Yun felt the national crisis at its head. With education as the foundation, he decided to donate funds to run schools, choosing a site with splendid scenery, Kunming's Yuantong Mountain in the northwest by Lianhua Pool, and naming it the Nanjing School. And what of Chairman Long at that time? Feeling that the culture in the central lands was rather decayed, this stark condition presented a national opportunity, a mission to seek the people's welfare, a guiding aim to educate and build new schools. In these 30 years, this effort began in earnest. The political leaders of Yunnan province at the time prepared for it, and 12 in total formed a board of directors to oversee the work. What about Chairman Mao? He took action. He did it. He could not sleep. After the Nanjing School was completed, Long Yun personally inscribed the 4 large characters, Baitnen Shuren, on the wall to encourage the whole community. At the same time, he blazed a path in Yunnan by opening the wind of reform, inviting the French-educated young woman scholar Zhang Bangzhen to serve as principal of the Nanjing School and implementing co-education for boys and girls. In Nanjing, one thing that distinguished him from other schools was Kunming's Sunflower Girls High School, which specialized in admitting girls. There was also Kunhua Middle School that specialized in admitting boys for secondary study. But what about Nanjing? People say, in the year of 1935, that Long Yun's trusted senior subordinate He Rongguang fell ill and died, leaving behind a large and hard-pressed family of 9, old and young alike, with poverty pressing hard and a heavy, tangled shadow of disorder hanging over the He household. After the father had passed away, there remained only me, my grandmother-in-law Mao Mao, and 7 brothers and sisters to carry on. When Long Yun, the chairman, later came to learn of this, he went on to purchase a great tract of land for us in our homeland, intending to provide for the education and living expenses of the 7 of us as a steady support. Later on, the He family's mother unfortunately died, leaving several underage children crying for milk and care. Upon hearing this, Long Yun again took action, arranging for several of the younger He children to be placed in the care of foster parents who could attend to their needs. Moreover, he took in the youngest daughter, He Hailin, who at that time was only 6 or 7 years old, and raised her in his own home as part of the family. There was one occasion when, while we were at that place, digging and toiling, the news arrived that the chairman had come. He urged us to pull back quickly and to hide. We hurried to conceal ourselves, and when I later welcomed the chairman into the room, he walked briskly, chest rising and falling with a steady, drum-like rhythm. Very soon afterward, under Long Yun's protection, the He brothers and sisters slowly grew up. Long Yun again sent them to the Nanjing schools that he had founded himself to study and prepare for their futures, and in time they all achieved something meaningful. Now, as the He siblings have entered the autumn of their years, this episode remains etched in their memories as a lasting mark. Do not forget to drink water and remember to dig a well, a proverb harking back to the need to gratitude and humility. The chairman and his wife, who served as our foster father and foster mother, raised us into capable, upright people. It is precisely in this way that we have always remained profoundly grateful. And although there has never been an opportunity adequate to repay them, Their great kindness and noble virtue have been woven into the fabric of our family genealogy. May this be passed down to our descendants for generations to come. Learn from them, and may you always remain forever grateful to them. Long Yun approved Yunnan's education funding autonomy and promoted compulsory schooling across the entire province. Later, they invited Xiong Qinglai, the head of the mathematics department at Tsinghua University, to come to Yunnan to teach at the university and to serve as its president. At that time, Mr. Xiong Qinglai laid out 3 conditions to Rongyun County, among which the most important was that the provincial government provide funding. Apart from funding and logistics, there would be no interference in Yunnan University's internal affairs, especially admissions. All referrals had to go through examinations, and such adjustments could not be used. The peasants accepted it, showing peasants' high regard for educational development throughout society. In the later war years, Yunnan funded a U.S. study prep class, selecting 40 students to study engineering overseas at public expense. And for each self-funded student who studied abroad, an annual subsidy of $3,000 was provided. What is a very interesting fact? At that time, the farmer's son Long Shunwen, the 4th young master, also took the examination and ended up 41st. Because funding could only cover 40, when we saw you ranked 41, we would not let him go. In addition, Longyuan Park established the Yunnan Gazetteer Hall, hiring cultural luminaries to edit and compile a local encyclopedia, the New Yunnan Gazetteer. These unique initiatives led the way in China at the time. Mr. Nangmin not only refused to earmark funds for the New Yunnan Gazetteer editorial department, but also lent his own mansion in Haiyuan City to the editorial department as an office. The New Yunnan Gazetteer is probably about 20 volumes now. These are important reference materials for our study of Yunnan culture and for studying Yunnan's local cities. In May 1950, the Yunnan Ethnic Institute began to prepare Long Yun, donating the Nanjing campus to New China free of charge. In December 1987, far away in the United States, Long Yun's 4th son, Long Shenwen Bing, following his father's example, emulated Long Yun. That same year at the Nanjing campus, they established the Chin Han Scholarship, contributing funds to the Yunnan Ethnic Institute to assist minority students in poverty. He personally wrote that he would donate $1 million. The scholarship, following the Institute's outcomes, later our school, according to his pledge, has already received a large share of his scholarship funds. That year, under the influence of my elder brother, Long Yun's only sister Rong Zhizhen physically joined the construction of a new Yunnan. She, in her hometown Jiaotong, promoted irrigation, funded schools, and aided sericulture. Thus Yunnan's Jiaotong region came to honor her as Nonggutai. Longgutai is Mao Zedong's sister. She often wore men's clothing, kept her hair short, and was both generous and plain. During the construction of New Yunnan, Long Yun once had a noble wish to turn his hometown Jiaotong into a small Kunming, a modern large Jiaotong. Now Long Yun's dream has become a reality. And what about Long Ying, this man? He was, first and foremost, a patriot. He loved this country and this nation. All his life he fought for this country and this people, contributing to the nation's independence, a contribution recognized by people around the world. Later, Long Zhizhen also directed his gaze toward the development along the Jinsha River's banks. In Sichuan's Liangshan and Jinyang Belt, the moving tale of Long Gutai drinking Tsinghua glue is still told to this day. Today, Sichuan's Jinyang County is known nationwide as the pepper capital. During the peak seasons, the fragrance of Longyu flowers fills the land that nourished the ancestors of the dragon family. In September 1935, Long Zhizhen died of illness. He never married, dying at age 46. The news of the calamity brought sorrow to the dragon people, tears streaming as the epitaph for his late sister Wang Mei, Long Zhizhen, was read on her tombstone. mourning the early death of the young Wang Mei Long Zhizhen. The construction and development initiated by Long Yun in Yunnan was, in fact, a comprehensive reform across all domains. Since then, Yunnan entered the Long Yun era. On May 10, 1935, Chiang Kai-shek, together with Song Meiling, inspected Yunnan. Song Meiling praised Kunming's urban development. Chiang Kai-shek stated that if we are to build industry, we should start from Yunnan. At that moment, a great national crisis quietly approached. Then, in the years of the ensuing War of Resistance, what extraordinary feats did Long Yun display? Where does his patriotic zeal that leads to fine jade come from? Please watch Wu Meng's Proud Son Long Yun, Episode 3, Bloodbath, Mountain of the Lust King. Right now, we will bring you China Resources Phoenix Focus.